When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, the dominant geopolitical fact was we are running out of oil. We only have 20-something years of proven oil reserves. And now, 40 years later, we have 47 years?
It's 5 minutes to midnight.
Hey, what gives? It was 5 minutes till midnight 4 minutes ago.
Exactly.
So what's going on here? If we look at here's a chart that shows proven reserves over the years from Our World in Data. And what we see is as we slide across, the numbers kept going up, right? As people explored for more oil in the 80s, they went up, then kind of leveled off above 40. And if we just keep going up till here, and I'm going to stop right about here because this is they flipped the scale in a year or two, just to add coal into the mix for some reason. But we're up to 50, right? And so what's going on here? Well, the point is the proven reserves are not all the oil there is. They're just what we know about. And when we start running short of reserves, guess what? We go look for more oil. And oh, by the way, we have improved the technology for removing oil from the ground, especially through fracking. We've explored places that weren't explored before. And so, a lot's been going on. And in terms of geopolitics, I think this is a problem that you often have, right? Certainly, reserves and fuel and the distribution of resources, major geopolitical point or geographic issue. However, the question of using it is more of an economic one, right? And an economist, very early, back then, economists would say, well, look, we're not going to run out of oil because if oil does in fact get more scarce, we will find other ways to do things. But as oil got more scarce, it got more valuable, so people looked for it. They figured out how to get it out of the ground. They started getting, so things changed, and there's a lot of moving parts. And very often, geopolitics oversimplifies the related theories and causal relationships, right? If geography has an effect on politics and economics, well, those systems are at play and they can be complex. People have choices, they make choices, they react. Technology advances, largely driven by the very factors that geographers will point out, right? Technology is driven by the scarcity of oil so that it's not as scarce as it used to be, right? If we have more years of it, even though our use has increased, we've still got more years of it at the current rate. So this is something you always have to be careful of in geopolitics. You don't want to oversimplify the reactions. You don't want to take a trend and project it forward in a linear fashion and present that as some sort of certainty, some sort of deterministic prediction of the future.